I am misogynistic, people say. I'm the opposite, guys. I will not take a woman's body unless I give myself to her in commitment. And that can only happen if we both share the same values. So it's not about being submissive or the masculine and feminine. It's really just two people who have the same values who want to perpetuate those into the future. And what women seem to do, and what we're doing is we're bringing this all to a conscious level, guys, because if we are aware of it, then this animal biological nature, then we can go beyond it, and we can live together in harmony. So it seems like women, let men influence and sway their life because they like to follow along. They like to have somebody who's leading the way, and then women will justify and rationalize whatever the circumstances that the men in their life created. And like women are indecisive. They don't look for solutions. They tolerate and rationalize what is. And this to me is like how the universe operates. It's kind of like the women part of the universe. It just flows. It doesn't really question. It just exists and tries to make things work. And then you have men who are the creative ones. Men like to think of solutions. They like to question things, be philosophical, seek the truth, seek a better world, create new ideology and technology so that we can have improvement. And so men like question that we can do things can be better. And so your one piece of homework is going to be to research the war brides effect, where women will be taken by the enemies, and then they'll integrate into that culture, and the ones who do at least they survive, and so it's a survival thing. And another thing for research is a very interesting video. It's called The Brutal Reality on Women No One Wants to Hear. And this is part of Schopenhauer's philosophy. Now, people use words like incel to describe him, but whether or not someone's an incel, like me, whether or not I'm married or not, I'm not. It's not about that. It's about really objectively saying, well, what women are, and not in it. It's not a hatred of women. It's just, or men. It's just a realization that, think about how women operate, right? By the way, they should have a chance to be feminine. They should have protection and provision by their fathers, brothers, and subsequently their husbands. But just think about how women move. Like, they go crazy at concerts. They're more emotional. They don't really like to talk about solutions during conversations. They just like to talk. And, they get all these body modifications and try to look like something they're not. Like, why not find a guy who likes them for who they are? Like me, I prefer a woman with, like, a small chest, with no makeup, with no high heels, with just, like, physical strength. And part of all of this experience, the human experience, is about realizing that we may find many people attractive in their personalities, but you really have to think about it. If you want to have kids, you have to seriously contemplate as a man, okay, just because this person I'd want to be intimate with, would I want them to bear my children? Do I like their, qualities? And so, and the thing about women is they don't really ask those questions. They don't ask, like, am I attracted to this person? What women often do is they kind of rely on how other women react to men, and they kind of all operate in this like group think, and they'll say things like, "You have no right to judge me," or "I should be allowed to do what I want," and they'll ignore their father's wishes, and they'll neglect to prepare for their future husband and think about, well, wouldn't he want them to be pure? And the same goes with men, of course. Men, men should want men should be thinking about what their future wife would want too. But this is all, the whole thing here is this idea of commitment and also being able to enjoy intimacy. The weird thing is when people like because there's intimacy in marriage, and there's more of it in marriage, more to enjoy there, and also people end up being dysfunctional. But the one thing, in the bedroom, but at times, but the one thing that's always functional is the woman's flower. And so that's why I always go back to that. Men, going down on their wife. That's going to be the one thing that kind of saves us from all the messiness of life and all this imperfection. And when I say like women are irrational, I'm talking about women. I'm but I'm talking about the feminine. I'm talking about like the estrogen, because in some instances I've heard that women like switch to having more testosterone, men switch to having more estrogen, and it's that hormone that makes people move in a certain way. And so what's the point here? Is creating a society where women get to use their maternal instincts, not to in unhealthy ways, like trying to mother like pets or their husbands, who really they should be following their husband. They should want to have a masculine husband. They should want to have their husband's last name. And the man should want to, essentially bring food and shelter to his wife. That should be like, and this isn't for everyone, but it's for most people, because most people are heteronormative, couple people, and so. But we gotta have women, even if they don't have children, a couple, they should be volunteering for childcare, doing things for humans, not pets. And this whole like makeup and high heels, it's masculine because it's about wanting power, just like wanting premarital intimacy is really wanting power, because that intimacy is going to be there in marriage. It's just preparing for that. And by the way, self-intimacy is the main solution for wanting premarital intimacy. Daily self-intimacy will eliminate that unhealthy or unloving energy from, or to resulting in an unloving action. The lust is a good energy, but as long as it's contained. And this whole thing about like women having a larger chest, emphasis on that is about dominating the space, and it's masculine. Just like how men thinking about like their privates and everything, that's actually feminine, because it's anything that's not a focus on the woman's body and her flower, And you should be, as a man, that should be part of your thought process when you look at a woman. Would you want to, go down on her flower? Just at a glance, when you look at a woman, do you think that? And do you think you'd want her to, bear your children? And does she have your values? And that's how you become much more selective.